Christmas is in December. My birthday is nowhere near August when I'm filming this, so I don't know, is this early Christmas, late birthday? Whatever it is, I have a pistol that is, to me, really cool. Now, hopefully you'll think it's kind of neat too, at least the story behind it is. And I want to show it to you, but before we get into that, I would really appreciate it because YouTube is really not friendly to gun channels, and summer's kind of slow anyway. If you hit the like button, I'd highly appreciate it. If you would make sure you subscribe. We're almost at 30,000, it might be by the time this posts. And comment on it, anything you can do to help us get notified more in YouTube so the channel can continue to grow. And share this video on the appropriate forums. I'd highly appreciate it. Anyway, moving right along. Story time. Shortly after Ann Arbor Arms opened up, I started a shooting league there. Initially started shooting paper and then eventually started shooting steel. And one of our early members, very kindly gentleman, a little older than I am, had a couple of really neat pistols, one of which I'm going to show you here. The other is going to show up in part 2, so I don't want to give you a spoiler on it. But I kind of lusted over those pistols, told him if he ever wants to sell them to let me know. Eventually, things came up in his life and he wasn't coming to the leagues anymore. And I did bump into him on a couple of occasions, and he got a hold of me out of the blue the other day and said, "Hey, I got something for you. I want to come, I want to meet up with you." So we met out at my range, and he brought me this pistol along with another one. Said that he had them in his will to me because he knew how much I liked him, how much I would take care of him. And he said he wasn't going to wait until he passed, and he wanted me to have them now. So this is number 1. And as you can see, it is a blue box Smith & Wesson pistol, and obviously Smith & Wesson semi-automatic, so we got that much out of the way. And so the fact that it's a blue cardboard box, it probably means it's a relative old or oldie. It does have the operator's manual, does have the tool kit, and if you notice in this tool kit there is a little something that's not normally in a Smith & Wesson toolkit. So Smith & Wesson aficionados, you have some idea of what I'm getting at. And as we open it up all the way, we see it is a semi-automatic. Get the box out of the way, we don't need that anymore. And you can tell by looking at it, it is an older single stack semi-automatic. It is a Model 52-2. Now, the Model 52 actually started back in 1961, came out originally sort of based on the Model 39 design, at least the internals were, and it was done in single action, double action. It was designed as strictly a bullseye target gun, and adjustable rear sights, adjustable for windage and elevation, flat, slightly reversed blade, so you could smoke them and get real good sight picture, and a Patridge-style front sight. But it was designed, again, specifically for bullseye target shooting, and that's why the magazines, which we're going to talk more about, are limited to 5 rounds each, which is what was normal in bullseye. So a couple of years later, they realized that the 52 being selective by just changing a set screw in the trigger area was not really what the bullseye shooters wanted. They didn't ever want to shoot double action. And based on the Model 39 type trigger, it was okay, but not necessarily the greatest. So a couple of years later, I think it was 1963, they came out with the -1 variant, which had a specially designed single action only trigger. And that was pretty prevalent for about 6 or 7 years. 1970, they came out with the -2 variant. The only big change on the -2 is really the extractor. There was a long extractor on the 52 and 52-1. They had some problems with it being relatively fragile, so they did change to the shorter redesigned extractor on the 52-2. And this is for 52 aficionados, kind of the holy grail. Actually, for bullseye shooters in general, this is a well sought after pistol. Stopped making this in 1990. The tooling was wearing out, and they just didn't have enough volume to bother to continue to reproduce the 52. So 1990, they stopped making them. This particular one has the prized Alpha series serial number on it. Before they went to serial number, they started with 3 different Alpha characters. So this is strictly an A series serial number, which makes it more valuable than the later ones. This one, I believe, came out, if I remember right, this was built in something like 1984, if I remember that correctly. Semi-automatic, 5-inch barrel, and this is not selective. It does have a safety on it. It's not a decocker. And for all of the safety nannies here, you can see there's no magazine in the gun and there is no round in the chamber, both of which I want to talk about here in just a couple of minutes. It does have good Smith & Wesson checkered wood grips on it. These are all factory. You can see right now the hammer is back, and I pull this down, and it's strictly a safety. Can't fire it. I put the hammer up. I still can't fire it because it does have a magazine safety. So, by the way, empty magazine. So we're not loaded here at the bench. Now that I put the magazine in, I can press the trigger, and wow, what a trigger. You can see it does have an over travel stop. It's a slightly serrated trigger. Again, in bullseye, that's fine. PPC shooting, I kind of like to go around, but a single action serrated trigger is going to work just fine. It's a wide trigger, and you can see there's a little bit of take up, but then it's an on-off switch. And I have not weighed the trigger on this, but I can tell you right now, it's very much sub 3 pounds. A little bit of just striations on the front strap, no big deal. A little bit of checkering on the back strap. Again, this bullseye shooting, it's not moving around a whole lot in your hand anyway. It does have a unique bushing on the barrel, and that's why it takes that special wrench that's here in the Smith & Wesson toolkit. You have to depress that spring-loaded pin, turn the bushing, and that's what locks up the barrel. There is, you might be able to see it here, just a very slight rise area. You can see where the wear mark is on the barrel, and that's where that locks up on that bushing to give it the real precise barrel to slide lockup, which is really what you want in good accurate shooting. So the model 52-2 with an alpha prefix is kind of the holy grail. But what makes it different is not just the magazines, which by the way are limited to 5 rounds because that's what was used in bullseye competition, but the ammunition. This shoots 38 special rimmed cartridge revolver rounds, mid-range, or I think called mid-range wad cutters. And you can see the box of ammunition I still have is 38 special lead wad cutter, 148 grain, 38 special match. And it's billed as a mid-range wad cutter. You notice that the wad cutter is flat at the end of the cartridge case. Here's a bullet that has not been loaded, and it is flush. Now they make a couple of different styles on this. Most of them are going to be a hollow base. They do make some bevel base. I like the hollow base wad cutters. It just gives a little better seal in the chamber. Extremely accurate. I did a video a while back on my PPC revolvers. I'll post that up here somewhere, and it talks about using this ammunition, and PPC matches at 50 yards is what we're shooting all the way up, well, 7 to 50. And if I couldn't maintain a group that was, well, pretty much the size of this ammo box vertically and width, that's about the size of the X-ring on the B-27 target, and if I was much outside of that, I'm pretty much out of the running. So this ammunition out of a controlled barrel will hold a 1-inch group easily at 50 yards. But that's all it takes in this magazine. It will only fit the flush nose wad cutter. Some wad cutters have kind of a button nose on it. They will not fit in that magazine. They won't go down. So it's strictly a flush nose 38 special rimmed cartridge match grade ammunition is what it takes in at this gun. Now the nice thing about it, besides the fact that and I'm not mentioning the gentleman's name, I didn't ask permission to do that, so I'm not going to reveal anything other than the fact that I've known him for a number of years, and he was very generous in providing this and the other. But he also provided this with 6 5-round magazines. None of these have been modified. Some of the PPC shooters did modify these by increasing the length of the channel there for the magazine follower to accommodate a 6th round, which you need for PPC shooting. None of these have been modified. Finding these magazines is it's not impossible, but they are very pricey these days. All right, so again, basically a bullseye gun. I am going to try to shoot a PPC course. I was never a bullseye shooter, so I'm going to try to shoot the PPC course. Using 5-round magazines, that means I'm going to have an extra reload in at least a couple of the stages that I'm going to try. I have not shot this gun since, well, I believe I shot it when this gentleman was in the shooting leagues. I've got to take it out to the range and give it a try, but it was presented to me as a gift, and wow, what a gift. This is part 1, so make sure you stay tuned for part 2 when we're talking about something else that was very much prized. And well, let's see, we'll give you a quick hint of it right now, and that's all I'm going to show. So part 2 of Christmas Comes Early. Love it, and I just talk about a heck of a surprise, and I'm forever grateful to the gentleman for providing this to me. So gotta love it. All right, thanks so much for dropping in. Wait for the shooting video on this. I'll probably do at least a couple, one just to try it out, one for accuracy, and then I'll do another one for trying to do a PPC match. I'm not a bullseye shooter, but I may shoot a bullseye target with it. We'll see how it goes. All right, thanks so much for stopping in.